What's going on, y'all, and welcome to the re-release of a few comedians that we've had on the podcast. We brought a few professional comedians who are Catholic on the show towards the beginning of the pandemic to raise our spirits, and it's still going on. So I figured, why not re-release some of these great conversations we had with three of my favorite Catholic comedians. Kicking us off is Aaron Weber, actually making his second appearance on the show. The first one was way before we did a video, though, so we're going to start here. This was almost a year ago. Father Anthony and myself and Aaron had actually done a show together about a year before that, so we had kind of already chummed it up and gotten to know each other. Aaron's hilarious. We already brought him on to, lift our spirits, and instead, Father Anthony just decided to yell about stuff. In this conversation, I actually was like, Aaron, you need to restart your podcast. And he has since not restarted his podcast, but now he is on the Nateland Podcast with Nate Bargatze, which is so fun. You should watch it and check it out. But before you do, recognize that that's three guys talking about stuff. And Aaron's the third guy just kind of sitting there laughing and chiming in. He started that here, right on Forte Catholic. Here's the video. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, like, subscribe, because for the next week, we're going to be releasing those three videos, starting today with Aaron, David Studebaker, and Jeremy McClellan. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss it, and enjoy today's conversation with Aaron Weber. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. And today's guest, I've already told you who it is. I'm excited that he is back. And I realized just moments before we started the interview that the last person to do the interview with me was none other than Father Anthony. So the crew is back again.
We're all back together.
Aaron Weber, a professional comedian and also professional stay-at-homer right now. How are you, dude?
I'm good, man. How are y'all doing? Holding up okay?
I think so. It was an interesting experience because I don't do this for everybody, but I enjoy listening to you talk. So I went to one of your comedy shows. I've listened to your podcast on social media and stuff. So I don't usually do this, but you're a returning guest. So I went back and listened to your interview on the first appearance on Forte Catholic. And the thing that stuck out to me the most was how happy we all were. Do you remember when we were all happy?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, totally different time. Feels like a different world almost.
It was like not only like regular happy, it was our Christmas episode. Like we were wishing each other a Merry Christmas. It was a beautiful, beautiful time. And now here we are stuck in the quarantine. And I asked you what we should talk about today, and you told me what?
That I have pretty much nothing going on in my life at the moment. So it might be it's all of a sudden I have no job and kind of no idea when I'll have a job again. So it's just, this has been a lot of my life, is doing Zoom calls like this and just talking to people and trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, you're good at that. And I'm going to try to convince you of that because you made me very happy and also frustrated. And then you let me down. We're going to go through this story, and just like the documentary that I think everyone in the world except maybe Father Anthony watched this weekend.
Definitely did not watch it.
Yeah, the Last Dance from Michael Jordan. I teared up because, and I didn't expect to, because it's a documentary, right? Who tears up at documentaries unless it's about like Uganda or something? And it was just watching. These are some of my first memories as a human person, like watching Michael Jordan come out. And that's how the first episode ended. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to experience my childhood as an adult.
Yeah, it was amazing, dude. I had vague memories of hearing that song. And then Michael Jordan, I remember, he's 6'6" from North Carolina. So it was cool to relive all of that. And I didn't know that I remembered a lot of that, but I did watching it.
Yeah. It's very special. So how does this connect to you? I promised you I'm going to make this make sense.
Okay.
So I was listening to Colin Cowherd, who's the biggest sports podcaster, radio show host in the world.
Yeah.
And he was saying that it's called The Last Dance, and it's about how the Jordan dynasty fell apart. They were going for their sixth championship, their second three-peat. Everything's fallen apart, and how we as a society are more interested in how things fell apart than how they started, which is interesting. How this connects to you is right after you came on my show. So we have to go. We're going to do like the time travel thing like they did in The Last Dance. We're going to go back to December 26th of 2018. You come on the show. We have a grand old time. And then 2 weeks later, you decided to start podcasting. So I have one question for you. Did I make it look so easy that you were like, man, I can do this? Or was I so bad that you were like, if he can do this, I can too?
Well, I think you're just such a good host. You made me feel comfortable with it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I can do this. I can get on here and talk. And then I started it up.
You sure did, and you did great. I listened to the first few episodes. I listened to the last episode today. So again, we're doing The Last Dance. We're fast forwarding to just a few months later when in your last episode you said, "Oh man, 2 weeks ago I told you I was going to be more consistent with this." And, and here I am 2 weeks later. That was in June of 2019, and you've not produced another podcast. So here we go. The Last Dance of Aaron Weber. Why did you let me down?
Well, I have been called the Michael Jordan of podcasting. People have called me that. You know how it is, man. It's like if you let yourself slide on a deadline, especially if it's an arbitrary deadline that you set yourself, the minute there's any give, like you miss a day, you're like, oh, might as well be 2 days. Oh, I'll just be a week late. I'll just be a month late. And then all of a sudden it's 6 months later and I haven't even thought about my podcast. And you're one of the first people to mention it to me. So I don't think I was building something really there, but I think it's just I didn't understand going into it that this would be like work for me every week. And I just wasn't having that much fun with it. I'd much rather just kind of paratroop in and do other people's, like yours, whenever I can.
Yeah. Well, you're like, and that was one of the things, like you were doing a good job. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
One of the things is I think what maybe I could be wrong. You could tell me if I'm wrong. One of the things that maybe you don't understand is that you're just a joyful person to be around. So like you were like, I'm not sure what this podcast is. It's just me talking for 30 minutes about comedy in my life. And I'm like, yes, Aaron, we like you. Like that's what we enjoy listening to.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Maybe I'll like Jordan coming back into the league. Maybe I'll rejoin a little bit. It'll be like my Wizards years. Like I'll go
no, don't
make
do
a few terrible episodes and then quit again. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. That's the most kind words I've ever heard about that podcast. That was a short chapter of my life.
But well, it's quarantine time. It's time to bring it back.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now, Taylor, I've got a question for you because I feel like you implied something rather strongly. I just want to bring it out into the open.
Okay.
When we first started this interview, you're like, oh, you're one of the few people that I like listening to. And you're one of the few people I've gone back and listened to the episode again. And you've had multiple repeat guests. And you said I feel like you hate every person you've ever interviewed other than Aaron Weber.
No, you missed the point. I did heavily imply that I only like listening to him,
yes.
Which is why I didn't let you say anything until just now.
I'll say that. I've been thinking about that the entire time. Like, wait a second. This is the scoop right now. We're learning a lot about who Taylor is.
Yeah. Yes. Aaron Weber's the only person I've ever enjoyed having on the podcast.
Amazing.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes, that is. I'm happy.
Are you not entertained?
Good. Yeah, you can continue whatever you were talking about.
Whatever I was doing. So speaking of you, though, Father Anthony, Aaron, the last time that he came on, came up with one of the greatest revelations in my entire life. I've been Catholic for 30 years. At the time of the interview, I was 29 years old, had grown up in the church just like Aaron. I was not the son of a deacon, which is why I turned out the way I did, and he turned out the way he did. Mm-hmm. You can make your own inferences there. But Aaron and I were talking about how, because he performs in a lot of Protestant churches, and they don't have kneelers. And we got to this point where Aaron realized that priests don't kneel. And it's one of the greatest insights I've ever heard in my entire life. He said it as a joke, and it's wrecked me. Every time I go to mass now, I'm like, those darn priests, they don't even have to kneel like me.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if I said it then, but that's kind of the reason why I became a priest. I was tired of kneeling and those terrible kneelers. And those pews, they're super uncomfortable. I sat in the pew just the other day because my church was empty, and I figured I'll just go in the church and pray a little bit. Oh, my gosh, how do you sit in those week after week? They're miserable. So that was a part of my discernment, I think it was, that I don't want to be Protestant. I don't want to kneel in church anymore, so I guess I'll just spend 8 years of my life to become a priest and do that. So it just seemed like the easier option.
Yeah, sounds real easy. Real
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. It's been the priest so far.
Well, I just started giving up on the kneelers, man. You see people, you look around and you see people just kind of sitting. If you just scoot up a little bit and look like you're trying, I think God thinks that's good enough.
Yeah.
You know, that's
You scoot forward, you lean over, and have like a serious look on your face.
Yeah,
and
just
you're
look
fine.
uncomfortable. Just look uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's good enough. He's trying.
And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you and I share something in common. We are both men of a certain girth. So kneeling in most pews, when I kneel, like I can't even kneel straight up because my belly is touching all
the songbooks and stuff.
Yeah, the songbooks. And like if pews have any kind of recline at all, people with a gut like myself, we can't kneel properly. So that's my excuse for why I sit down.
No shot. And then you're just on top of the guy in front of you, right? And then when they sit up and you're still kneeling and you're just basically neck to neck with whoever's in front of you, it's what's going on here? And then you got to sit back, and then it's just dominoes through the back of the church, right?
Yeah. Wait, what church do you go to?
It's basically like yeah. What he's saying is like pews and airplane seats, they're basically the same thing. It's the same process.
Yeah, and we're all coach and you get business class.
Yeah, I don't genuflect going into my airplane seat.
No.
I'll tell you that much. That would be weird. But I use for so many. You do?
It ensures that no one talks to me the whole flight.
Now, I used to, when I was growing up, it was, you're just looking around waiting for the first person to sit up so that you can sit up.
Without feeling guilty.
Exactly. I just started right around age 18. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be that guy. So I was like, I'll set a trend for the whole church here. I'll just sit up and then everyone follows my lead.
Well, I'm glad you've been a leader in the Catholic Church for
so long. Yep.
Does your shirt say mom on it?
This is a Liberty University mom sweatshirt that I regret getting, but I wear it a lot now.
Well, congratulations. I didn't know you were a mother the last time you were on.
I appreciate it.
On the new development.
Well, I saw it because I got this a long time ago, kind of as a joke. And now, I never wear it outside the house. But now I haven't left the house in a long time, so I'll just throw it on. I kind of regret talking about it now. But anyway. You see Liberty University basically opened back up in the middle of the pandemic. You follow that story at all?
No, I didn't. I'm a little behind on my Liberty University news.
Oh, yeah. I get Google alerts to my phone. No, I don't. Anyway, I just saw they reopened right in the middle of the pandemic. And then a bunch of kids started getting the coronavirus. I was like, yeah, of course. So there's probably a massive class action lawsuit coming for Liberty University.
Speaking of that, Father Anthony, I just was able to share with Father Anthony a story from his own diocese that he hadn't heard about because he's so plugged in. But there was a priest that it cracked me up, and it probably shouldn't crack me up, and I should probably go to confession, just not the way they did. So they did the drive-by confessionals where there's like a sheet that protects you from all diseases.
I keep telling people, is a drive-through confessional? A drive-by confessional is something totally different.
Nope. I like it a lot.
A drive-by confessional.
A drive-by confessional sounds like you don't even put it in park, dude. You just kind of
exactly.
So drive-by confessionals, and the priest is sitting there. The priest got the virus. That's not the funny part. Very sad. But the funny part was because of the seal of confession, he couldn't share who he saw who might have the virus, or who he saw because he could have infected them. So because of the seal of confession, he couldn't say hey, you might have the virus. I was like, what a strange use of the seal.
Does that break the seal of confession just to say that somebody did come to confession?
Yeah, you can't even say who has gone to confession to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's pretty intense. But here's the thing though.
No, I'm glad that's how it is, but I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah. But here's the thing though. If the priest knows he got it from hearing confessions, it's like, in general, I got it from hearing confessions. That means whoever came up to him was definitely symptomatic at the time. So I just imagine this guy coming up coughing and hacking, going to confession, and the priest having to deal with this. And now because of that whole incident, we can't have confessions. Confessions in my diocese have been canceled since then.
Really?
So we can't even do there's no confessions in my diocese. So because someone was selfish and couldn't wait a few extra days to like get better and decided to cough on a priest, we can't have confessions anymore. Well, I'm going to yell about this for a second. This is making me really angry.
You're so unmerciful. You're so unmerciful.
No.
He was
People
dying.
are dumb.
That man was dying. And he wanted to go.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. If you can drive a car, you're not dying. Okay, so here's the thing.
Wait, that's not true in any scenario
That
ever.
is often true. If you're dying, you're in bed. That's where everyone dies, not in cars, obviously.
Yes,
that's not the
never
point.
been a car
You're
death.
distracting me from my point. You're distracting me from my points. I'm going to get on a soapbox for a second because everyone's complaining about not receiving the sacraments. You see what happened in this situation. Most priests in my diocese are like 60 plus years old. If we all go to mass, all the priests in my diocese are dying. So can we please calm down about this? Think about your priests. They're all old. If you give them the Rona, we're doomed. That's all I had to say that.
I like how we bring a professional comedian on to like uplift people's spirits, and Father Anthony decides that's the time to yell at everybody.
They've had it coming.
I have two questions about this incident. One, can the priest can talk to the person that he knows he contracted it from, right?
No. So I can't if I hear your confession, I can't bring up your confession to you. Even if it's in a different confession?
Hey, last week you were here and you got me sick.
No. So the priest shouldn't.
Wow.
Yeah. You can bring it up to me, but I can't even like act on information that I heard in the confessional. And sometimes this will happen. Like when I first got to my parish and people go to confession to me and they might say, hey, I'd love to talk to you some other time, blah, blah, blah. Or they say, I'd like to be a reader or something for Mass. I'd like to volunteer. I have to tell them, make sure you tell me that outside the confessional because I will not contact you because I am not allowed to act on any information I hear in the confessional. That's how
even like on the way out, like, you know,
maybe it's on the way out as they're like giving me the finger guns.
Okay.
But like in that, until I give like the absolution and the sign of the cross and everything within that, no good.
Sure. Mid-confession, I can't do, hey, quick aside.
Yeah.
All right, let's come back. Pause all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Is there any talk at all about what's preventing priests from doing confessions over Zoom, over the internet, like telemedicine?
Yeah, so this is the big thing, because it doesn't seem like there's a super satisfying, concrete answer. But in general, the thing is, sacraments require a personal encounter. That's the whole point of them, that the priest is bringing the presence of Christ, and that happens in a personal sort of way. So there needs to be a reasonable like distance. And like I said, so like that's the gist of it. But yeah, when you hear that, you're like, that's a little bit, that feels like not a very solid answer. Normally as Catholics, we have like rules and solid answers and stuff. But I tell people, you know, if you brought this microphone over to a piece of bread, I couldn't consecrate it over the internet. You know, you would think that's silly. But for some reason, we don't think hearing confessions over the phone is silly. So it's hard to kind of explain. That's the best I can do.
No, I get that. Yeah, I've learned to just be satisfied with those kind of answers.
Beautiful. You know, you're a good Catholic. You're one of the good ones.
I remember having a lot of arguments with my dad about stuff, and he would just say, "Look, you won't appreciate this answer until you're older, but you just need to accept this." Like, all right. So I've learned to accept stuff like that, and that makes sense. I mean, it is kind of silly, but if we were like the next room over,
right,
and instead of talking through a screen, we're talking on FaceTime. You know what I mean? It's
how
overflow at Mass.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I mean, I think that this is stuff that's being discussed right now by people who are smarter than me. So,
well, I appreciate it. I've always wondered about that.
Well, good. I'm glad, Aaron, you came on the show to learn some things. That was the goal.
Yeah.
The goal was for you to bring people joy, and instead, Father Anthony yelled at us and then taught us things.
You started off the segment saying, "I don't know what we're going to talk about," so I just started making stuff up.
No, see, that was a ploy. I knew exactly what we were talking about. I compared Aaron to Michael Jordan. That was
it was great. It was
I appreciate it, man.
All right, so I'm gonna say it here. You said that one of the problems that you were having was that you couldn't set yourself for an arbitrary deadline. Yeah. I'm gonna say it here with all of my audience and Father here present that your podcast will be relaunching within the next few weeks. So now it's not
You're going to will it into existence.
I am. I need one new episode, at least one, just one in the next few weeks.
Don't you think at a certain point it's like it's been too long?
Well, my audience has been saying that since episode 32, and this is 185. So take that.
Well, it's just the last 2 episodes of that podcast I did. I was like, oh, man, it's been a little more than a week. I'm sorry. And now it's been a year. So I just don't know how to even approach that.
You're a comedian. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
You're right. Stakes are pretty low, too. So I can have some fun with it. Okay.
You can do it. You can do it. Okay. So last thing. We got to do one of the things that we planned on before Father Anthony co-opted this thing. So like you seem to be in good spirit. So you're either a great actor as well as comedian, or you're actually in good spirit. So like the world is falling apart. What is one thing that a comedian is doing to stay joyful during this time?
Oh, comedians have never been joyful. I think here's the thing. I think what's keeping me sane about all of this is it's always upsetting when you aren't getting opportunities, you're not doing shows, but there's a little relief when you know that nobody else is either. Right? So there's no jealousy and there's no fear of missing out. There's no FOMO. So it does feel a little good. It's like, I got no shows this weekend. I have no prospects. My calendar's empty. But you know what? Bill Burr, Amy Schumer, Louis C.K., they're not doing shows either. So
Louis C.K. isn't doing shows, but that's for a different reason.
Hey, he's doing shows, man. He's selling out theaters. He's back. But now nobody's back. You know what I mean? Now we're all gone. So that makes me feel a little better. And then it's just there's a lot of time for self-reflection. There's a lot of things I've been telling myself that I don't have the time for, and I'm realizing I did have the time for that, and now I definitely have the time, and I just don't want to do it.
Like podcasting.
Like podcasting, like exercise, like learning how to cook, like cleaning up my house, things like that. So, I'm learning more about myself, that's for sure.
But what's great is like you're going to come back so much stronger whenever we're able to come back. Like you're gonna have a killer joke and you're working it out there. Be like, it'll be 2024 and you'll be like, 4 years into my comedy career, there was a stretch in the spring of 2020 where I had the same amount of bookings as Jerry Seinfeld. I was on the top of my game and I was tremendous. Aaron Weber, thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, thank you guys, man. Y'all are great.
This was awesome. How can people stay in touch with you if you decide to post this podcast soon?
At Real Aaron Weber on everything. Hit me up on TikTok. I'm blowing up on TikTok, guys.
Attaboy. All right, I will. I think that's the one place I don't follow you. So, Aaron, thanks so much. Father Anthony, thanks for nothing. You're the worst. I'll be right back with Father, or maybe I'll kick him out and Aaron will be my co-host for the next segment. We'll see what happens. Don't go anywhere. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Aaron. Comedians are the best. I love him. I love Aaron. He's one of my favorite people alive. So go check him out. Here's how you can, click the little button up here or whatever to check out Aaron's YouTube page. Also, you can click the other little button here in a second and watch the full episode that Aaron was on, or check out his first appearance on the podcast just by searching Forte Catholic and Aaron Weber. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with our series of Catholic comedians on Forte Catholic right here. Have a good week.